We began an earlier training program to this by showing pilots on the flight deck of a Boeing 747 jumbo jet preparing for takeoff. The idea was to compare the meticulous preparation necessary for that task with the equally meticulous preparation needed to enter and work in a cleanroom. Perhaps we took that example a little too far, and we should have compared the foods and smoke, and from people comes hair and skin flakes. In the hurly-burly of life, these contaminants get ground up into very small particles, so our challenge is to maintain the integrity of the cleanroom. Normally, the smallest particles that can be seen by the human eye, unaided, are about 50 microns in diameter. For those of you who have forgotten, a micron is 1/10. Skin flakes and dandruff are hazardous, and hair coverings are worn by both men and women throughout the plant. Then to the first of the 3 cleanroom changing zones, sometimes called the black zone, making certain that you step carefully onto the decontamination mats positioned at the door. The black zone is where staff change into dedicated cleanroom undergarments similar to those worn in cleanroom operations. A full surgical type scrub-up is required to ensure removal of skin flakes and bacteria. It's worth noting that the extent of the scrub-up procedure should be specifically included in training, as scrubbing the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers can disturb the skin flakes, which would be harmless if left undisturbed. In others, thorough hand washing is required. There are alternative ways of drying hands, where you put on your cleanroom clothing. Now, if you work in a pharmaceutical cleanroom, your clothing will almost certainly have been decontaminated to remove particulate matter and also sterilized, meaning that it will be free of bacteria. On the other hand, if your work involves electronics or other non-medical products, your cleanroom clothing will have been decontaminated. Regardless of which type, you now have to handle your clothing, as well as those at your ankles. Finally, your footwear, which you select for size and put on at the step-over, making sure that you don't let your unshod feet touch the floor until you are ready to stand up on the cleanroom side of the step-over. When robing gloves have been used during the dressing procedure, they will be kept on while the cleanroom clothing packaging is tidied into a waste bin. The procedure for removing cleanroom clothing will depend on the type of clothing being worn and the frequency at which it is normally cleaned and decontaminated. In the highest classification cleanrooms, this can mean that a fresh outfit is worn every time, in which case the soiled clothes will be placed in the collection area on leaving. At many facilities, the clothing is changed with gloves when worn, then footwear before crossing the step-over, the body garment, and finally headwear. It is essential that the clothing should not become contaminated after it's removed, and it should be handled carefully and placed on the storage system with a minimum of disturbance. Remember, every time you enter the cleanroom, you should follow exactly the same procedures going in and out.